Have you ever worried that the next time you renew your driver's license, something might have changed without you even realizing it? Imagine arriving at the DMV expecting a routine renewal, only to discover that your state now requires additional documents, a vision screening, or an in-person visit that you didn't plan for. It's a situation that catches thousands of drivers by surprise every year, and for older Americans, it can feel especially stressful because driving isn't just about getting from one place to another. It's about maintaining independence. If you're over the age of 70, or if you have a parent, grandparent, or loved one who is, today's video is one you won't want to miss. Across the United States, millions of older drivers will be renewing their licenses over the coming weeks, and many are asking the same questions. Have the rules changed? Is there a new federal requirement? Do I need to take another vision test? Can I still renew online? What documents should I bring? And perhaps the biggest question of all, how can I avoid unexpected delays that could leave me unable to drive legally? You've probably seen dramatic headlines online claiming that millions of seniors have received urgent warnings or that every driver over 70 must follow brand new federal rules before August. Those headlines certainly grab attention, but what do they actually mean? That's exactly what we're going to unpack today. The most important thing to understand right from the beginning is this. There is no single nationwide federal law that automatically changes every driver's license renewal process once you turn 70. That's a common misunderstanding. Instead, driver's licenses are issued and managed by individual states. That means the requirements in Florida may be completely different from those in California. Texas may have one renewal process, while Illinois follows another. New York may require something different than Arizona or North Carolina. Knowing that one simple fact can save you a tremendous amount of confusion because many people hear advice from friends or family living in another state and assume the same rule applies everywhere. In reality, each state has the authority to establish its own renewal procedures, testing requirements, and eligibility standards for older drivers. So why are so many seniors hearing about license renewals right now? The answer is actually pretty simple. Every month, thousands of licenses expire across the country. During the summer months, DMV offices often experience higher appointment demand because many people schedule renewals, vacations increase travel, and families have more flexibility to visit government offices. If your license happens to expire in July, August, or September, waiting until the last minute may make it more difficult to secure an appointment before your expiration date. That's why experts consistently recommend checking your driver's license well before it expires instead of assuming you'll have plenty of time later. It sounds like a small step, but it's one that many people overlook until they're only days away from expiration. Take a moment and think about where your driver's license is right now. Maybe it's in your wallet, your purse, or tucked safely inside a card holder. Most of us rarely look at it unless we're checking into a hotel, boarding a flight, or being asked for identification. As a result, expiration dates can easily sneak up on us. For retirees especially, life often follows a different rhythm than it did during working years. Without daily commuting or office schedules, it's easier for dates to blend together. Weeks turn into months before we realize a renewal deadline is approaching. Imagine planning to visit your grandchildren, drive to an important medical appointment, or take a long-awaited road trip, only to realize your license expired yesterday. Suddenly, what should have been an exciting day becomes a stressful race to schedule an appointment. Fortunately, avoiding that situation is much easier than many people think. The first thing every older driver should do is simply check the expiration date on their current license. If it's approaching within the next few months, don't wait. Visit your state's DMV website or contact your local licensing office to see exactly what they'll require for your renewal. You may discover that your renewal is straightforward and can even be completed online. On the other hand, your state may require an in-person visit or additional documentation. Either way, knowing ahead of time puts you in control instead of leaving you surprised at the last minute. One of the biggest areas of confusion involves vision testing. Many people believe that once someone reaches age 70, every state automatically requires a comprehensive eye examination before renewing a license. That's not actually the case. Some states do require vision screenings for certain older drivers. Others require them only under specific circumstances. Some allow an eye care professional to complete the necessary paperwork, while others perform a quick vision screening directly at the DMV. And in several states, renewal requirements may not change based solely on age at all. This is why it's so important not to rely on generalized advice you find online. Two people who are both 72 years old may have completely different renewal experiences simply because they live in different states. Vision, of course, plays a major role in safe driving. Even healthy eyes naturally change as we age. Reading road signs at night may become slightly more difficult. Bright headlights from oncoming vehicles may create more glare than they used to. Depth perception can change gradually over time, often so slowly that we hardly notice the difference ourselves. That's why regular eye examinations remain one of the smartest investments any driver can make. It's not about taking away someone's keys. It's about making sure every driver has the clearest possible vision while sharing the road with others. Something as simple as updating your eyeglass prescription can make nighttime driving feel significantly easier and more comfortable. In fact, many drivers are surprised to discover just how much clearer road signs appear after receiving updated lenses. What they had gradually accepted as normal aging was actually something that could be improved with proper vision correction. Another topic that often concerns older drivers is whether they'll need to visit the DMV in person. Again, the answer depends entirely on your state. Many younger drivers can renew online multiple times before being asked to appear in person. Some states eventually require everyone, regardless of age, to renew face-to-face after a certain number of online renewals. Others have additional in-person requirements for older drivers. An in-person renewal doesn't necessarily mean anyone questions your driving ability. Often it's simply an opportunity for the licensing agency to verify your identity, update your photograph, review required documents, or complete a quick vision screening if applicable. Unfortunately, many people hear the words in-person renewal and immediately become anxious, imagining complicated examinations or difficult driving tests. In reality, that's usually not what happens. Most routine renewals remain exactly that, routine. Preparation simply makes the process smoother. Another important point many drivers overlook involves keeping personal information up to date. Have you moved recently? Has your mailing address changed? Did you legally change your name? Are your identification documents current? These details may seem unrelated to driving, but they can affect the renewal process if records don't match or required documentation is missing. Taking a few minutes to verify everything before your appointment can prevent unnecessary delays. There's another reason this conversation matters so much. For many older Americans, driving represents freedom in a very real sense. It means being able to pick up groceries without asking someone else for a ride. It means attending church services every Sunday. It means visiting grandchildren whenever you choose. It means keeping medical appointments, volunteering in your community, enjoying weekend outings, or simply taking a peaceful drive through familiar neighborhoods. Losing that independence, even temporarily because of an expired license, can feel incredibly frustrating. That's why staying informed is so valuable. Knowledge gives you options. Preparation reduces stress. And understanding your state's requirements helps ensure there are no unpleasant surprises when renewal time arrives. Perhaps you've heard someone say, once you turn 70, they make everyone take a road test again. That's another common misconception. While certain situations may require additional evaluations depending on state rules or individual circumstances, there is no nationwide requirement stating that every driver automatically takes a behind-the-wheel driving test simply because they reached a particular birthday. Safe driving isn't determined by age alone. Many people in their 70s and 80s continue driving safely every day, while younger drivers can also face medical conditions or situations that affect their ability to operate a vehicle safely. Licensing agencies generally focus on functional ability rather than age by itself, although states may adopt specific renewal procedures for older adults as part of their overall licensing systems. And that's an important distinction that often gets lost in social media discussions and attention-grabbing headlines. The goal isn't to create fear. The goal is to help drivers stay informed, stay prepared, and continue enjoying the independence that comes with safe, responsible driving. Because the better you understand your own state's renewal process, the more confidently you can plan ahead instead of worrying about rumors or misinformation online. One question that many older drivers don't think about until renewal time is this: what if I take medication every day? Will that affect my driver's license? It's an important question because as we get older, many of us begin taking prescriptions for blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis, heart conditions, or other common health concerns. The good news is that taking medication by itself does not mean you'll lose your license. Millions of Americans safely drive every day while managing chronic health conditions. What matters is whether a medical condition or the side effects of a medication affects your ability to drive safely. Some medications can cause drowsiness, blurred vision, dizziness, or slower reaction times. That's why it's always a good idea to ask your doctor or pharmacist a simple question whenever you're prescribed something new. Will this medication affect my driving? That one question can help you make informed decisions before getting behind the wheel. It's also worth remembering that many side effects are temporary. A medication that makes you feel sleepy during the first few days may not have the same effect once your body adjusts. Your healthcare provider can explain what to expect and whether you should avoid driving during that adjustment period. Another topic that creates a lot of confusion is medical reporting. Some people believe doctors automatically report every older patient to the DMV. That's simply not true across the country. Medical reporting laws vary by state. Some states require healthcare professionals to report certain medical conditions that may significantly affect driving, while others leave those decisions to medical judgment or allow voluntary reporting. That's another reason why rumors spread so quickly online. Someone hears about a rule in one state, posts about it on social media, and suddenly people across the country assume the same law applies where they live. In reality, that's rarely the case. Let's talk about something else that doesn't get enough attention: reaction time. Reaction time naturally changes throughout life. It doesn't happen overnight, and it certainly doesn't happen to everyone at the same pace. Some people remain incredibly alert well into their 80s, while others notice changes much earlier. That's why defensive driving becomes even more valuable as we age. Leaving a little more following distance between your vehicle and the car ahead gives you extra time to react if traffic suddenly stops. Driving at a comfortable speed, not because you're nervous, but because you're allowing yourself more time to process what's happening around you, can make every trip safer. Many experienced drivers already do this without realizing it. They choose routes with less traffic. They avoid driving during rush hour. They leave earlier instead of feeling rushed. These aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of experience and good judgment. Another factor worth considering is nighttime driving. Many people notice that driving after dark becomes more challenging over time. Headlights from oncoming vehicles may appear brighter than they used to. Rainy nights can make road markings harder to see. Glare from LED headlights may feel overwhelming. If you've experienced this, you're certainly not alone. One simple solution many drivers adopt is scheduling errands during daylight whenever possible. Grocery shopping in the morning instead of after sunset, planning medical appointments earlier in the day, or traveling before evening traffic begins can reduce stress while making driving more comfortable. There's absolutely nothing wrong with adjusting your driving habits to fit your current needs. In fact, that's one of the smartest things any driver can do. Let's also discuss vehicle maintenance because it's closely connected to driver safety. You can be an excellent driver, but if your tires are worn, your brakes need service, or your headlights aren't working properly, you're putting yourself and others at unnecessary risk. A quick maintenance check can make a huge difference. Are your windshield wipers clearing rain effectively? Are your mirrors adjusted correctly? Are all your lights functioning? Is your tire pressure where it should be? Does your vehicle stop smoothly when you apply the brakes? These are simple things, but they're often overlooked until something goes wrong. Technology has also changed dramatically over the past decade. Today's vehicles include features like blind spot monitoring, lane departure warnings, adaptive cruise control, rear cross-traffic alerts, automatic emergency braking, and backup cameras. For drivers who aren't familiar with these systems, they can feel overwhelming at first. But once you understand how they work, many become valuable safety tools. If you've recently purchased a newer vehicle, take some time to read the owner's manual or ask the dealership to explain its safety features. Many dealerships are happy to provide demonstrations, especially for customers who want to become more comfortable using new technology. Speaking of technology, let's address another question that comes up frequently: digital driver's licenses. Some states have introduced optional digital IDs that can be stored on smartphones. Others are still evaluating them, while many continue relying entirely on traditional physical licenses. If you've heard someone say, everyone has to switch to a digital license now. That's not accurate nationwide. Digital identification programs are expanding in some areas, but requirements vary by state, and physical driver's licenses remain valid where applicable. Another issue that deserves attention is document preparation before renewal. Imagine arriving for your appointment only to discover you've forgotten an important document. Now you have to leave, gather paperwork, schedule another visit, and possibly wait several more weeks for the next available appointment. That situation is far more common than many people realize. Before your appointment, make a checklist. Verify which documents your state requires. Confirm your appointment time. Double-check your address. Bring any necessary vision forms if your eye doctor completed one. Having everything ready before you leave home can save hours of frustration. One of the biggest misconceptions about license renewal is that it's designed to make things harder for seniors. In reality, the goal is to ensure that everyone on the road, regardless of age, can drive safely while protecting themselves and others. Think about it this way. Every driver benefits from clear vision. Every driver benefits from updated identification. Every driver benefits from understanding current traffic laws. These aren't burdens. They're part of maintaining safe roadways for everyone. Traffic laws themselves also change over time. Perhaps you've been driving for 40 or 50 years. During that time, speed limits have changed, new traffic signs have been introduced, roundabouts have become more common in many communities, and technology inside vehicles has evolved significantly. That's why some mature driver education courses are becoming increasingly popular. They're not because experienced drivers have forgotten how to drive. They're opportunities to review newer traffic rules, refresh defensive driving techniques, and become familiar with changes that may not have existed decades ago. Many participants actually enjoy these courses because they leave feeling more confident than before. Another important conversation involves family members. Sometimes adult children worry about their parents driving but don't know how to bring up the subject. On the other hand, older adults may feel that any conversation about driving is really a conversation about losing independence. The best discussions aren't about taking away keys. They're about preserving independence safely for as long as possible. That might mean scheduling an eye exam, reviewing medications with a physician, limiting nighttime driving, choosing familiar routes, or simply making sure license renewals happen on time without unnecessary stress. When families approach the conversation with respect instead of fear, it often becomes much easier for everyone involved. And here's something encouraging that often gets overlooked. Research consistently shows that many older drivers voluntarily adjust their driving habits as they notice changes in their abilities. They don't wait for someone else to tell them what to do. They make thoughtful decisions based on their own comfort level. That's one of the reasons experience remains such a valuable asset behind the wheel. Years of driving teach patience, awareness, and the ability to anticipate situations before they develop. Those skills don't disappear simply because someone celebrates another birthday. In fact, many insurance experts point out that safe driving depends far more on individual habits than on age alone. The most important thing is staying honest with yourself, staying informed about your state's requirements, and making choices that keep both you and everyone around you safe. And that begins with something as simple as checking your license, understanding your renewal requirements, and planning ahead instead of waiting until the last possible moment. There's one more topic that deserves attention because it's something many drivers don't think about until they're standing at the DMV counter, and that's identity verification. Over the past several years, states have updated many of their licensing systems to improve security and reduce identity fraud. That means the documents you needed years ago may not always be the same ones required today. Before heading to your renewal appointment, it's worth taking a few minutes to review your state's official DMV checklist. You may need proof of identity, proof of residency, or other supporting documents depending on the type of license you're renewing and your state's specific requirements. Taking that small step ahead of time can save you from making an unnecessary second trip. Another question many viewers ask is, what happens if my license expires before I renew it? The answer depends on your state's laws, but one thing is consistent across the country. You should never assume it's okay to continue driving with an expired license. Even if the expiration happened only recently, driving without a valid license could lead to penalties if you're stopped by law enforcement. That's why renewing early is always the safest approach. Many people wait because they think, I'll do it next week. Then life gets busy. A family visit comes up. A doctor's appointment takes priority. Maybe there's a vacation planned. Before they know it, the expiration date has already passed. Planning ahead eliminates that stress entirely. Let's also talk about something that doesn't receive enough attention: emergency preparedness while driving. No matter your age, every vehicle should have a few basic items: a flashlight, a phone charger, emergency contact information, a first aid kit, a bottle of water. If you wear prescription glasses, keeping a spare pair in the vehicle can also be incredibly helpful if your primary pair becomes damaged while you're away from home. These are simple precautions, but they can make a difficult situation much easier to manage. Now let's shift our focus to something positive. The United States has millions of licensed drivers over the age of 70. Every single day, they safely drive to volunteer opportunities, community events, grocery stores, medical appointments, family gatherings, and vacations across the country. Age alone doesn't define someone's ability to drive safely. What matters is staying healthy, staying alert, maintaining your vehicle, and understanding the rules that apply where you live. In fact, many older drivers have decades of experience handling situations that newer drivers have never encountered. They've driven through severe weather. They've navigated unfamiliar cities. They've adapted to changing traffic laws over many decades. That experience is incredibly valuable. But even experienced drivers benefit from occasional refreshers. Traffic patterns evolve. Road designs change. New technologies are introduced. Vehicle safety systems become more advanced every year. Taking time to stay informed isn't a sign that you've forgotten how to drive. It's a sign that you're committed to remaining a safe and confident driver. Another common concern involves hearing. Some people wonder whether wearing hearing aids affects license renewal. In general, wearing hearing aids is not a barrier to driving. In fact, using prescribed hearing aids can improve awareness of emergency vehicles, surrounding traffic, and important sounds while driving. Just as wearing corrective lenses helps improve vision, hearing devices help many people remain safer on the road. It's also worth discussing physical comfort during longer trips. As we age, sitting in one position for extended periods may become less comfortable. If you're planning a long drive, consider scheduling short breaks every couple of hours. Stretch your legs. Walk around for a few minutes. Stay hydrated. Those simple breaks can reduce fatigue and help you remain focused for the remainder of your journey. Let's not forget one of the easiest ways to improve safety: eliminating distractions. Modern smartphones are incredibly useful, but they can also become dangerous if we're tempted to look at notifications while driving. Before you leave, set your navigation. Adjust the radio. Silence unnecessary notifications. Once you're on the road, keep your attention where it belongs. Those few seconds spent looking away from traffic can make all the difference. Weather is another factor that's often underestimated. Heavy rain, dense fog, snow, ice, high winds. Experienced drivers understand that sometimes the safest decision is simply waiting until conditions improve. There's absolutely no shame in postponing a trip if the weather creates unnecessary risk. Now, before we wrap up today's discussion, let's review the 5 most important things every driver over 70 should do before August if their renewal is approaching. First, check your driver's license expiration date today. Not next week, not next month, but today. Second, visit your state's official DMV website or contact your licensing office to confirm the exact renewal requirements where you live. Remember, every state is different. Third, if you haven't had your vision checked recently, consider scheduling an eye examination. Clear vision benefits every driver, regardless of age. Fourth, gather any documents you may need before your appointment so you won't be caught off guard. And finally, don't wait until the last few days before your license expires. Renewing early gives you time to resolve any unexpected issues without interrupting your ability to drive. If there's one message I hope you take away from today's video, it's this: don't let alarming headlines create unnecessary fear. Whenever you see claims that every senior must do this, or all drivers over 70 face new federal rules, take a moment to verify the information through official sources. Most driving regulations are determined by your state, not by a single nationwide rule. Accurate information is one of the best tools any driver can have. Being informed helps you avoid unnecessary stress. It helps you prepare ahead of time, and it helps you continue enjoying the independence that driving provides. If you found today's video helpful, take a moment to share it with a friend, neighbor, or family member who may be approaching their next license renewal. A simple reminder today could save them a great deal of confusion later. And now I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell us which state you're from and whether your state requires an in-person renewal, a vision test, or another step once drivers reach age 70. Your experience could help someone else who's preparing for their own renewal. If you enjoy straightforward updates about driving laws, senior safety, and practical information that affects everyday Americans, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay informed, drive with confidence, and I'll see you in the next video.